All right, let's just jump right in. We live in this age of absolutely incredible technology, right? I mean, AI is promising to completely change how we work, and yet, don't you feel more distracted, more scattered, and somehow less productive than ever before? It's a huge paradox. And in this explainer, we're going to unpack that by building what I call your personal productivity pyramid, right from the ground up.
I mean, look at the promise. You've got these wild projections. A McKinsey report says AI could add something like $4.4 trillion in productivity every year. That's a mind-boggling number. But then you look at the reality, our day-to-day, and what's really happening? For so many of us, AI tools are just creating a flood of more stuff. More automated emails, more instant summaries, more kind of soulless content, but with no real direction. It's that classic feeling of being super busy, but not actually moving the needle on anything important.
So if the latest shiny app isn't the answer, then what is? Well, the solution is all about building our pyramid on a really solid foundation. Before we can even think about leveraging a tool like AI, we've got to go back to basics. We need to completely rethink what productivity even means at its core. And here's the first huge mindset shift, the first block for our pyramid's foundation. We're all obsessed with managing time, right? But think about it. Time is finite. You get 24 hours in a day, and that's it. You can't make more. But your energy, that's a whole different ballgame. As a great Harvard Business Review article points out, your personal energy is renewable, and that is the real fuel for getting high-quality work done. And when we talk about energy, it's not just about getting enough sleep. That's the physical part, sure, and it's crucial, but it's also about our emotional state, our mental focus, and even our spiritual energy, that connection to a sense of purpose. Real, true capacity, the very bedrock of this pyramid, comes from making sure we're systematically renewing all four of these. Okay, so the second huge piece of our foundation comes straight from James Clear's incredible book, Atomic Habits. We tend to get so fixated on goals, right? I want to write a book, or I need to hit this sales target. But here's the thing, goals just set the direction. It's the systems you have in place, the actual processes that get you there. The big takeaway here is to stop obsessing about the finish line and instead get obsessed with perfecting the process of just taking that very next step. And this quote, man, it just says it all. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. It just perfectly captures why a reliable process is everything. Think about it. A good system is what protects you on your bad days, and it's what makes progress feel almost inevitable on the good ones. Okay, so our foundation is set. It's all about managing energy, not just time, and focusing on systems, not just goals. Now let's build the next layer of the pyramid. How do we actually architect a system that protects that precious energy and focus? The cornerstone of this whole structure is a concept from author Cal Newport called deep work. And this isn't just, focusing. It's about a state of distraction-free concentration on really demanding tasks. This is the stuff that pushes your brain to its limit. And honestly, this is the single activity that creates real, lasting value in today's economy. And here's the big contrast, right? Deep work is what actually moves your career forward. It's solving the hard problems, learning a new skill. Then you have shallow work. That's all the logistical stuff that fills our days. Answering emails, sitting in pointless meetings, constantly reacting to notifications. The problem is, our days are usually dominated by the shallow stuff, but all of our real progress depends entirely on the deep. The word system can sound really big and intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. Look at this workflow from David Allen's famous Getting Things Done method. It's really just a simple, repeatable process. Now, don't worry about memorizing this whole diagram. The key idea to grasp is the concept of a funnel. You capture all the stuff coming at you, you process it, and you organize it into clear actions. That way, it's not all just rattling around, clogging up your mind. And when that system, that second layer of our pyramid, is firing on all cylinders, it allows you to enter this incredible state we call flow. You know that feeling, right? When you're so in the zone that nothing else seems to matter and time just kind of melts away. That's the peak experience. That's what a really well-designed system makes possible. Okay, so we've got our foundation of energy and systems, and we've got the architecture for deep work. But how do we actually make this happen, like on a random Tuesday? This brings us to the next level of our pyramid. Simple, powerful tactics for daily execution. First up, a classic for a reason, the Pomodoro Technique. It's so brilliantly simple. All you do is work in focused 25-minute sprints, and then you take a short break. The magic here isn't about working for hours on end. It's about creating these little sacred blocks of time where you are not interrupted. It's like taking your focus muscle to the gym. Next up is a fun one. Eat the frog. Yeah, the name comes from an old Mark Twain quote. The idea is simple. Every day, you identify your most important task. You know, the one you're most likely to procrastinate on? That's your frog. And you do it first thing in the morning. You eat that frog. When you tackle your hardest task first, you guarantee you're making progress on what actually matters, and honestly, the rest of the day just feels so much easier.
All right, so we've got our daily tactics in place, like Pomodoro and eating the frog. Our whole structure is now built, and with that, we can finally come back to AI. See, with a solid foundation, a clear system, and daily habits, we can place the capstone on our pyramid. We can start to see AI not as some magic, chaotic solution, but as what it really is, a powerful amplifier.
And this is the absolute key takeaway. If your workflow is a total mess, AI is just going to help you make a bigger mess, but faster. It's that simple. But if you have a solid system for capturing tasks, for protecting your focus, and for prioritizing your energy, then AI becomes a supercharger for everything you do.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Let's take a look. A tool like Reclaim.ai, for example, doesn't just manage your calendar. It actively defends the deep work time you've built into your system. Or a Keyflow, it helps you execute that capture and process step we talked about, turning all those random inputs from email and Slack into a real, concrete plan. The point is, these tools plug into the pyramid we've built. They enhance it. They don't replace it.
So at the end of the day, this whole productivity thing isn't really about finding the perfect tool. It's about building your own personal pyramid, a powerful engine that runs on a solid foundation of energy and systems. And once you've built that engine, then AI becomes the high-octane fuel that lets you go further and faster than ever before. So the only question left is, what are you going to build?